Drama awaits, only on Echoes of Love. Our film begins on May 5, 1997, with Jane moving with his family into their new house. It was the first time he had seen the house, yet he felt a strange familiarity toward it, as if he had seen it before. His brother was a successful person in his life, excelling in his studies and relationships, possessing multiple talents in many fields, but a year earlier he had suffered an accident and injured his left leg. The luggage was transferred to the new house, and the score schedule was hung on the wall, with the page showing the day May 5, 1997. Then Jane went up to his room on the second floor, but he discovered that his brother would share the same room with him, because the previous owner of the house had pleaded with their father to let him keep his belongings in the second room, promising that he would come to collect them within a month. They sat down to eat together, and at that moment their father warned them, saying that everyone must not approach that room at all, based on the previous owner's insistence. Jane hears a knocking sound coming from that room, but his father tells him it is just the sound of thunder, assuring him that the room contains only the old man's furniture. It becomes bedtime, and everyone falls asleep. Jane then hears the knocking sound again coming from the direction of the closed room. He considers approaching and opening the door, but his brother surprises him from behind and scares him, then tells him there is no sound and takes him outside for a walk. During that time, a shadow of a person is seen moving under the gap beneath the door from the inside. The brothers walk together under the rain until Jane receives a call from his father, telling him he urgently needs a certain file and asking him to return home to get it. While his brother returns, he is kidnapped, and Jane is unable to save him, though he memorizes the license plate numbers of the car that took him. He then runs quickly to his family to tell them what happened, leaving them exhausted and heartbroken. An investigation is opened into his brother's kidnapping case, and the detectives inform them that there is no black car with those numbers and that they will monitor the family's phones, as the kidnappers might call at any time. After 19 days of his kidnapping, his brother returns home, but he remembers nothing of what happened due to memory loss, and their life returns to normal. Over time, Jane notices that his brother is limping on his right leg, even though the injury was on the left. He asks him, "Why are you limping on your right leg?" But his brother tells him that he is in a hurry to leave for his errand, shakes his hand quickly, and leaves. Jane continues his breakfast without dwelling too much on the matter. At night, he continues studying until sleep overcomes him at his desk. His brother comes and takes a pen, bringing the tip close to Jane's sleeping eye until the tip falls on the desk. Jane feels it, but pretends to be asleep and watches him. Then Jane sees his brother walking normally without any limp. He begins to follow him to find out his destination, discovering that he meets with the detectives responsible for his kidnapping case, who call him the president. Jane continues following him until his brother suddenly disappears, and he is surprised to find the detectives behind him trying to catch him. He manages to escape and hide. Then his brother appears from behind, sedates him, and he loses consciousness. Jane suddenly wakes up at his desk in his room, as if nothing had happened, and finds his brother standing behind him, terrifying him. He rushes to hide in the bathroom and confronts him, saying that he knows he went out at night and that he was watching him. But his brother tries to convince him that he did not leave the house and had been sleeping all night. Jane comes out of the bathroom holding an iron rod in fear of his brother, who tells him that what he feels are merely illusions caused by forgetting to take his medicine. He then shakes his hand and leaves. Jane continues his studies, but he sees the pen tip fallen on the desk and confirms that what he saw was not a dream, but a complete reality. He decides to open the closed room and enter it, finding his brother hanged inside. Terrified, he wakes from his sleep to discover that it was a nightmare. He goes down to the kitchen to drink something and hears his mother warning his brother, saying that Jane discovered everything, and this will ruin things, it must be finished quickly. Feeling Jane's presence, he hides from her, then returns to his room through the outer window. She goes upstairs to check on him, finds him in his bed, leaves, and continues her conversation, saying that her secret has also been revealed. Jane tries to escape from the house, but his father tries to stop him. He flees, and a family member chases him, but he manages to reach the police station and tells them that he had been held for a month in a house near that location with people claiming to be his family. They open an investigation into his identity and bring his file. The shock comes when they tell him that his birth year is 1997, meaning he is 21 years old. Jane tells the police that he is 21 years old, not 41, The officer asks him to look closely at the calendar. Jane looks and discovers that today's date is May 5th, 2017. He is stunned, looking around to find an invention he has never seen before, a mobile phone. Then he goes to look at himself in the mirror and sees an old man with white hair. He leaves the police station and goes to the house he used to live in, heading toward the closed room, from which a certain song is playing, while on the floor lie two kings drawn in blood. A person stands before him and asks, "Who are you? What is happening?" The person answers that in this house, in the same room, a murder occurred 20 years ago, shocking the police about the brutal killing of a mother and her daughter, but they were unable to catch the killer, and the case was closed. Nevertheless, the victim's family did not give up and appointed people to investigate the crime, and he was their leader. Finally, they managed to identify the killer, Jane. The person explains that they imprisoned and tortured him to force a confession, but he always denied and said he could not remember what had happened. They resorted to a hypnosis expert, who acted as the captor, and confirmed that Jane had memory loss. They tried to recover his memories of the period preceding the crime through hypnosis, which helped him regain memories related to the crime. They gave him medication to help implement this plan, which he understood was an antidepressant. An actress played the role of the mother to reenact the events, and using hypnosis along with a realistic story loop, they succeeded in preparing Jane's mind to return to the period before the crime. Jane awakens in a car with those he believed were his family, traveling to his new house, and the film begins again when he feels he has seen the house before, because he truly had seen it when committing the crime there, and then lost his memory. The entire plan was to revive the killer's memories and reconstruct the crime scene with precise details, even the music playing at the moment of the crime. Unfortunately, during the execution of the plan, the police caught them, so the plan failed because the crime had occurred on a rainy day, and the rain would not repeat soon. Jane denies committing the crime and jumps from the car, fleeing. The police try to chase him in a car, but he crashes into a tree. He tries to continue escaping, but another car hits him, causing him to fall on his head, and he is taken to the hospital. We go back in time to May 5, 1997, when Jane was moving with his family to a new house. An accident occurs on the road, killing his real parents and putting his brother into a coma, requiring large sums of money for necessary operations. Jane works for 6 months but cannot raise the amount, attempts to borrow from others, and fails. Then he receives a message on his computer from an unknown person offering the required money on the condition that he kills his mother without harming her children. Jane agrees and is given the address. He enters the house to find his mother sleeping next to her son, but he awakens from his intent, regrets it, and decides to leave. However, the mother wakes, and her daughter comes down, screaming as she sees him holding a knife. He runs after her, enters her room, falls on her, and stabs her to death. The mother enters, finds her daughter killed, screams, and he stabs her as well, hitting the cassette, which plays the song loudly. Jane loses control and cries. During Jane's escape from the house, he sees the picture of the doctor treating his brother and realizes that this doctor was behind everything. He goes to the hospital and confronts him, astonished at how he could request such a thing and how he intended for his wife to die. He understands that the doctor wanted to save his brother and was also seeking to protect his children through the life insurance money on his wife. The doctor attacks Jane when he discovers that he killed his daughter and tries to throw him off the hospital roof, but the doctor himself falls, causing Jane a severe shock, which leads to his memory loss, explaining why he does not remember committing the crime. Jane wakes up in the hospital beside the doctor. Before the doctor can put poison in his four, he asks to meet the victim's family because he remembers everything and needs to confront them. He asks the doctor about the alleged killer of the mother and child, and the doctor points out that he suspects the mother's husband, the doctor, who had insured the mother's life for a large sum. Jane recalls the child he met that day. It is the same child, and that his life had changed since meeting him. After his father's death, his relatives took all his money and placed him in an orphanage. His only dream became revenge on those who killed his family. He tries to convince himself that he killed his mother and that he decided to do so on his own without pressure from anyone, taking full responsibility without tarnishing his father's image, yet he is certain he is lying. He decides not to kill, leaving the poison syringe beside him, walks out, goes to the hospital window, and jumps to commit suicide. He then decides to inject himself with the poison, dying as a consequence of the crimes he committed. Here we reach the end of the video. Subscribe for more.